Hello, everybody. Welcome back to MiniTerrainDomain. We are here with session 5 of the Convergence mini-campaign. Tonight, we will be tackling the last full session that will take place here on the Tantharra side of the world of Arrath. Tonight's session is titled The Fountain of Baraqar. I'm very excited to get back to this game. Every time we sit down, this is a fantastic experience, and I know tonight's not going to be any different. Before we get started, I'm going to touch on a couple of points of business, and then let the players introduce themselves, and we will get started. First and foremost, if bad language, immature humor, or mature subject matter are things that bother you, then don't watch this game. Don't watch any of my games. You've been warned. This is not PG-13. I had to rein it in. I tried, at least last week for Jaspers, and that was an experience. So, tonight, the training wheels are off, and you've been warned. If you have a problem, email Jake. Oh yes, partners of the channel are Jasper's Game Day, which I just mentioned. You should be able to type !Jasper, and it'll bring up their relevant contact information. They are a fantastic organization that tries to raise awareness for the prevention of suicide. So very much a worthwhile cause. Check them out, and you can also buy some coffee. Then $3 from each of the bags, I think, it gets donated to Jaspers if you buy from Initiative Coffee Company, which you can type !Coffee into the chat and it should bring up their relevant information. There's also a sponsor for the channel, and that is Talon in Claw. If you type !MTD Claw, it'll bring up their information. They are a company that builds beautiful, gorgeous wooden RPG accessories, dice vaults, DM screens, all kinds of just very gorgeous work. Austin is showing off one of his pieces that he has there. That's a dice vault, I believe. Those things are cool as hell. Yes, so that covers all of the business, except for, of course, mental health is a tough thing for a lot of people. Thankfully, the conversation recently has started to change away from it being so stigmatized and as taboo to discuss mental illness. And that's a fantastic change because now people don't have to feel afraid to reach out for the help that they might need, whether that's medication or therapy or a combination of the two. So if you feel like you need help, if you feel like you need someone to talk to, if you type !Help in the chat, we don't even have to be in a game. You can come here on the off hours and do this. It will bring up numbers that you can text or call in the US and Canada. And it also includes a hyperlink that you should be able to follow to a list of numbers that you can contact throughout the rest of the world if you don't happen to live here in the United States or in Canada. If you need somebody to talk to, please reach out. Because you matter, and there are people who want you here. I promise you. So if you need help, lean on people that can give it to you. So it's a very important message. But I'm going to pass things over to my players so that they can introduce themselves, plug anything that they would like to plug, and then we're going to play some D&D. So first, I'm going to pass this over to Jackson.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jackson Johnson. I am representing Initiative Entertainment, a brand new podcasting D&D live play group. We have our wonderful podcast, Maelstrom, a post-apocalyptic swashbuckling fantasy adventure that you can find on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other sort of podcast apparendi. Wherever you listen to your podcasts, we're on there. Check us out. And I am always excited to be playing a Convergence game. This is one of the best games I've ever played. These are an amazing group of players and run by the all-powerful Jeremy. And I'm super excited to get back to it. I'm getting into my angsty mood tonight as I will be playing Thabanon Alcim, the angstiest half-elf warlock you've ever seen. Yes, an angsty half-elf warlock, the angstiest one ever made. And he's ready to totally be chill with the group.
The edgiest of edgelords. I've been recently listening to Maelstrom. It's very good stuff. I've enjoyed it a lot so far, and I hope that you guys keep up the good work over there.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Cool. People are pouring in. We've got a couple of subs. I put one domain die up there. So if you do gift sub yourself, donate bits, I think 500 bits, you will earn the players a domain die. And they can cash those in. Either one domain die to have a reroll for themselves, or they can cash in 2 and have me reroll something. Was something that I forgot to mention. But next up we have M.
Hi everyone, I'm M, and I'm coming to you live from the middle of nowhere. But at least I have internet now, so that's great. I was so sad to miss last session, but I was literally stuck with no internet, which was very sad. But now I'm back and I'm super excited. And I will be playing Maddo, who has had some real skeletons or flaming angry men come out of his past, and so I'm super excited to see how that goes and how the rest of this campaign goes. So I'm so excited to play again.
And we are super excited and happy to have you back, Im. We missed you last time. We missed Ceci, but very pleased to be able to hop back in and have more angry flaming men come out of Monto's past.
Hey now.
Maybe. Sounds like a great time. So speaking of sounds like a great time, Austin.
Really thought you were going to go with the speaking of angry flaming men there,
Angry
but
flaming men. That would have worked too.
I mean, it wouldn't have been bad.
Choose your segue.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to say hi. I'm Austin. I'm excited to be playing tonight. I really hope Jeremy is going to turn up the heat.
Oh, you're finished. Well,
that's it. That's it. No, I'm
okay.
amending it on that dead fish.
Wow.
Fish trap.
Ouch. I didn't know what I was signing up for, truthfully. So it's not my fault. But we're here for it. We're stuck.
Guys, you knew exactly what you were signing up for.
Would you say you're now out of the frying pan and into the fire?
I wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't. I know who would, though. Thanks. Next up, we have Matt.
Hello, everybody. I'm Matt. I run a channel called A Fistful of Dice, and I make RPGs over at Absolute Tabletop. The thing that I was going to plug is I have this book now, and it's so heavy, and it's really awesome to actually see it in person after all of this time. So if you're interested, Dead Man's Guide to Dragongrin is now available in print, and you can get it on our website, absolutetabletop.com. Yay! Tonight I am playing Okex. They are a Thri-kreen nomad wanderer with some secrets in their past that we might see some more about here soon. And we saw some hints of that last session when he acquired a second Paduva knife, one that they were familiar with. So really looking forward to the session. I can't believe this is our last one in this hemisphere. I'm so sad about that, but I'm so excited to see where this story ends up.
Me as well. I cannot wait to see how this is all going to kind of come to a point. Dude, this book, I'm pretty sure that most RPG books might do like a D4 damage, but this would definitely be a D6 at least, if not a D8.
My my partner hurt herself picking up the book. Like she set the book down and like let it go a little bit too hard, and it caught one of her fingernails, and it literally hurt her. So, I mean,
there you go.
Buy at your own risk, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Yeah, I think the only other book that I've seen, role-playing book that is quite this big is Kobold Press's book, the NPC. Oh no, it's a Pathfinder book. The NPC Codex, I think, is what it's called. It's another big, huge, honking book.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it's not quite Zweihander size, but it is chunky.
Yeah, that's impressive. You guys really did a phenomenal job. I've only had the chance to kind of thumb through it just a little bit since I actually got it in my hands, but I am looking forward to diving deeper in and starting to rip things out of there. All right. Last but certainly not least, we have Karen.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karen. I also go by the name of Myth and Gears on the YouTubes and Twitters and stuff. All this talk about Dragongrin is like making me super jealous that I live up in like the boondocks of nowhere, and my copy will be months before I get it. So, all you guys. Anyway, I'm super
Those
excited.
dog sleds don't move fast enough.
Not at all. At least we're going to play in the hot climes of Tantharra tonight, so I'm pretty excited about that. Where I'm going to be playing Darshepsa, who is a dwarven cleric of the grave, and super excited to get going because we have the lantern of the city of the dead. Ooh, I'm so excited.
Yeah, I am so excited to get to this. So, without further ado, we should do that. All right. What we got going here? Okay. The most frightening place to view the abyss is when standing upon its edge. For this is the very precipice of the point of no return. Only here are you given the fullest appreciation of what lies beyond that next step. And yet, you still cannot fully understand what it means to be embraced by it. To do so means to step beyond that precipice, to leap from that edge, and to know that things will never be the same again. You have just defeated Ashkii the Burnt, a stranger who seemed to know Mato, as you found yourself in this strange portion of the Hornspires, that these elongated, tall, spindly rock formations, these particular ones seemed to have faces as a part of their original formation, as if they had at once been some kind of living creatures, now frozen forever in this strange little circle, this small clearing that you now find yourselves in, standing over the dead body of this Ashkii, this man whose skin is blistered and burned and sweating, but the edges of his clothing only seem to be scorched and singed just a little on the edge. And the kind of fire that he was fighting with should have consumed him long ago. He is now felled, and yes, you did indeed find a dreadsteel lamp hanging from his belt. A few of your party recognized this as the Lamp of Baraqar. What would you like to do?
Darshepsa has got the lamp in front of him on the cloth, and he's sitting cross-legged in front of it, and he's chanting slowly under his breath, kind of readying his soul for the moment when we activate the lamp. And so he's there in a quiet contemplation for a moment.
I think that Mato is like right there because he had word that his brother was in the lamp. And so he is like, you can feel the antsiness on Mato he's sitting there, and sometimes he'll like switch position and you hear him like clear his throat, and as he moves again and again, probably not boding well for your attempt at meditation and trying to connect and stuff. You hear like this sigh, this loud like he's like moving around.
You would be wise to ready your soul. This is not a journey you want to take in that condition. And he goes back to chanting.
Yeah, soul ready. Mm-hmm.
I imagine off quite a distance away from the two is Thabanon is sitting like on a boulder out in the middle of the sand, and he has just like a couple rocks in his hand. He is nervously contemplating the severity of the mission that has been given to him, and he is just staring at these rocks and just skipping them along the sand, and is just keeping his eye out on the two on looking over this rather frightening lamp. And he is processing all of these, understanding the fact that the closer they get to the mist, the more weight that this journey is putting on him and the group. He's not used to processing this amount of stress and emotion, so he is just off by himself skipping stones.
Arrath would be trying to keep Yuma away from them as they experiment with this dangerous lantern. And she's kind of pointing out, just teaching him little things about the desert, ways to read the rocks and the sand, and just kind of pointing out, answering any questions he might have about any of the wildlife or anything. Basically just trying to educate him and keep him a little bit further away and kind of distract him.
So after you notice, there's a small lizard that's kind of, making its way from shaded spot to shaded spot, hunting for food. And the boy has pointed this out to you. And after a moment, you notice that this lizard stops kind of shadow hopping from place to place and starts to make a beeline for the dead body and the lamp. And you can see that it looks like Yuma might be directing the lizard to do so. And he's watching this lizard and he goes, Oh, look. Oh, it's over there by that lamp. That lamp is pretty cool, huh?
I suppose it is somewhat interesting, but I believe they have it under control.
It's made of dreadsteel, like Darshep's mace, right?
It she seems like a little, like she kind of shakes at that a little. It does seem to be.
Is it really true? Like, can it summon the city of the dead?
She just shrugs at that.
Should we rub it?
I think we should let Darshepsa and Mato do what they are planning to do. And you should learn more about our home.
Darsheps is just sitting there.
For now, he's a wiser man than he looks. Give him time.
Fine. Okay. He kind of rolls his eyes.
Okex has moved away from the group, similar to what Thabanon did. And the sound of like a soft melody being played on this two-necked sitar kind of drifts across the sand and finds its way to the rest of the party. Not loud, not shrill. It's this kind of sad sounding melody that is just plucked out on the strings. There are no chords. It's just these like arpeggios sort of drifting across the sand. It's a very melancholy sounding song. And Okex would, they won't sing like you would imagine somebody singing, but they would intersperse different clicks and hisses and sounds with their mandibles with this song. And they have this Paduva knife that they took off of this guy, sort of just sitting in the sand in front of them. And Okex is paying tribute to this person, Kor, who this knife belonged to. Okex doesn't know what happened. They don't know what befell Kor and how this person took this knife. But they know that Kor would not have given the knife up willingly. And so Okex assumes that Kor is dead. And so they play this song, and in their tongue would promise Kor that this knife will find its way back to a person who deserves it. Okex makes it clear in playing this song that this knife does not belong to them. They're simply carrying it for their friend until they find someone deserving of it. And they would finish up that song and stow the knife away in its scabbard, keeping it safe on their person. And then they would walk over to where Thabanon is and just be near Thabanon.
As you were ending your song, Okex, you saw a figure's shadow kind of step up behind you for just a moment. Another Thrycreen. And as you kind of turn to look, there's no one there, but there is a bird that's perched on one of these Hornspires branches that kind of sticks out from it and seems to be chirping and singing to your song for just a moment. And as you finish your song, you notice the bird kind of glides and flies over to where this lamp is and touches it. And kind of a strange behavior, like a very deliberate touching of this lamp before then turning and flying away.
And almost like, so go ahead. Almost as like it was the sign that Darshepsa was waiting for. He stops chanting and turns to Matto. Matto, if you are ready, it is time.
Just before we go, what will happen? Maybe an idea?
One never knows with these things. This is the realm of the dead we're going to.
Great. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Uncertainty. Love that. Will you... No, never mind. Ready.
Come. And as he kind of motions towards you to come sit down beside him, he reaches out with one hand, the hand that has the tattoo on it, and it at this time doesn't glow, but it almost as if it's like the opposite. It's pulling in light and it's becoming darker, this tattoo. And he reaches out, grabs your hand, Matto, with that hand, and then places them together onto the lamp. It is your brother you seek. Think of him. And we will touch the lamp.
You rub this lamp, this dreadsteel piece. It is made of a very similar looking metal to your mace, Darsheps, at this impossibly dark, black, gray metal that almost seems to be matte by its very nature. It doesn't seem reflective the same way that a lot of other metals are. But as you rub this lamp, there's a reflective sheen that kind of passes over the surface of this ornate lamp until it reaches the spout. And as it reaches the spout of this lamp, these invisible waves, the way like heat shimmers off of the ground or rocks on a particularly hot day, this shimmer seems to pour out of the spout of this lamp, and kind of hits the horizon line and begins to spread. And as it does so, you realize through this shimmer, you see a city. You see these enormous walls with gold gleaming orbs at the top of the towers and decorative paint and high parapets everywhere you look. You can see strange green things sprouting up from the ground and sticking up above the walls. And you can hear the din of people.
I think maybe there's a moment when maybe Matto is hesitating, and Darshepsa continues to say, we must not stop, we must continue.
There's so many people. It's so loud. There's so many things, and I would almost imagine maybe like the image might like shake a bit as Matto's kind of like losing his focus and concentration, just being so overwhelmed with what he's seeing, this entire city, and hearing the people.
Matto, focus.
Do we walk towards it? Do we go?
Think of your brother. Have him in your thoughts. Hold it tight.
Yeah, for emphasis, he just clenches his eyes shut, scrunches his face.
So do you approach?
Yeah, I guess once the vision, the mirage, whatever becomes almost like it's stationary, like it's not moving anymore, like it's fully there. Darshepsa would stand up, still holding Matto's hand, and start to pull him towards the mirage. You might want to open your eyes so that you don't stumble.
how are the other three of you reacting to the appearance of this gloriously gleaming, shining city?
I imagine Okex kind of they watch this bird fly over to the lamp, and shortly afterward, this light, this mirage appears, and I imagine that Fabinon is looking in the other direction, and so Okex would be doing like over the shoulder, like trying to get Fabinon's attention, like smacking him with, and Fabinon would be like trying to get him to go away, and he's just like trying to get you to turn around and look at this like amazing spectacle just over your shoulder.
Fabinon just goes, "What are you doing? Stop. Can't you see I'm having a moment?" Oh. And then Fabinon just kind of like while staring at this mirage, just sort of like reaches his hand out blindly for your shoulder to lean on.
Sarath would pull Yuma in close. Don't wander off, and just kind of like keep a hand on his shoulder and keep an eye on this and watch her companions to see where, like, if they're heading towards it. She doesn't necessarily want to just let them go alone, because this does not seem like a good idea to her.
Yeah, and Yuma is all but like sprinting in that direction. And you'll have to, basically kind of, keep a hand, on his shoulder or something to make sure that he doesn't just run off. And
we need to get one of those toddler leashes.
Well, I've got this whip I could
so
use.
He doesn't run. There you go. So he doesn't run into J.C. Penney at the mall. We got to keep him. Yeah.
He'll outgrow it in like 10 minutes, though. So fantastic. Okay. You begin to head towards the city of Baraqar. The closer you get, the less a mirage this place seems to be. The more solid it seems to become through these heat wave shimmers. And as you start to kind of move towards the open gates at the front, Okex, you see a thri-kreen kind of start to pass through the open gates. And as it does so, as they do so, they stop and turn and look back at you. There's no doubt that they're looking right at you. You realize that this is Kor. And Kor passes through the gates into the city. You continue on, moving closer and closer. There's no guards outside of this gate. There's no one here to offer any kind of resistance at all. And you're able to pass through this grand open doorway with these enormous doors that are easily 30 to 40 feet in height. You pass in, and almost immediately you are overwhelmed with sounds and sights and smells. You can smell food cooking here. You can smell the incense that are being burned on almost every corner as you walk past the first several shops. People are milling about here and there, almost as if they're running errands. Like this is a living city. But the thing that strikes you the most is how immaculately clean everything seems to be here. And everyone seems very happy. Darshepsa, it is not long before someone approaches you and says, "Ah, hello. Welcome to Baraqar. That is a very fine mace."
He just looks at the man. Well, thank you. And you are?
Of course. My name is Aldar. Would you be willing to sell that mace to me? I could offer you a very fine price.
I am afraid not. This, and he kind of just taps it again, is not for sale.
Are you sure? I could
I
not.
am most positive it is not.
Well, that is a shame. If you change your mind, please. He kind of gestures to the shop behind him. Please come and see me. I would love to buy this from you.
And Darshepsa would just kind of give him the nod. You know, the good day.
Okay. So you can see this quite sizable city spreading out in every direction away from this gate. And you can see that there appears to be not only residences and shops, but also temples and courtyards. There seems to be a keep in the distance. There seems to be bathhouses, someone mentioned. This place is a very metropolitan city. So, where are you going? What are you doing now that you're here?
Matto, what did your brother do in life?
Like me, he was a trader, traded in water, and you can see Matto's like already looking around, like the trader seller, in his blood. He's looking around. He's trying to see what people seem to be exchanging for currency here. I think that's immediately what he would be focused on.
So you notice that they are trading in coin, but every coin that you see is copper. It all seems to be copper coin.
Sorry, forgive me. What are our coins made of?
The typical copper, silver, and gold.
Okay.
Is there no gold or silver here? He's like looking around. He like half says to Darshepsa.
Yeah, Darshepsa just kind of stays silent. It's like he's just as confused as you are, but trying very hard not to show it at this point. You said the spires, though, like the things on top of the buildings what were they made of?
There is gold and silver present in the city. You just don't see any of it coined.
They seem to have better uses for it, and he would kind of indicate the buildings.
You see, Matto looks like really displeased with that use of gold and silver on the buildings. Just shakes his head. Well, that is just ridiculous. And he's just gonna keep moving.
I like how like the gold and silver on the towers in the city of the dead is the most ridiculous thing that's going on right now.
Matto's just like clinging on to any facet of normality that he can judge.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's looking out for the stalls. He would turn to Darshepsa. Do you know where we should go? What we should do?
I think we should seek your brother. You had questions?
This place is vast. How are we going to find?
You must
Have
think
you-
of him. Call to him.
He's like looking around as if he expects to see his brother just appear. Have you ever been here before? He looks
No.
to Darshepsa.
I am alive, Mato.
Right, but you do this. He kind of like gestures broadly. Don't you, like, this is your thing.
To go to the land of the dead.
Well, to deal with death.
I deal with death, but on the other side. When one passes, one does not come back, so there are no stories. This is as new to me as it is to you.
He suddenly looks very serious to Darshepsa. We are going back, right?
Darshepsa is very silent.
Yeah, Mato's just, his face just pales. Do the others know?
And the talk of the others, I think that's the first time that Darshepsa realizes, oh yes. And so he turns around to look at the others to see if they've followed.
Okex definitely would have followed, if not actively, then somewhat absently, just sort of wandering with the group. But you would definitely notice that they seem a little spooked at seeing the gates and potentially seeing people that they know. And so Okex would be sort of just looking around with these multifaceted insect eyes, just taking it all in wordlessly.
Fabinon didn't really walk in so much as was like pulled in by his own wonder. And if you would look back to him for the first time, you would actually see Fabinon's face is softened. And he's just sort of staring mouth agape at the beautiful, tall structures. He has never seen a city, let alone a city like this. And just the idea that a world could be made like this, with people seemingly all happy and working together, not fighting for survival, the peace that comes in death that these souls have, you can see it's bringing tears to his eyes, and he is actually just unconsciously crying. And he seems to just be sort of absently wandering about, running his hands along many fine silk wares sold in many merchant stalls, just touching things, just absorbing everything he can from this place with all of his senses, smelling the scent of fresh food being cooked on a roasted spit, feeling just the wind or absence of in this city. The sheer alienness of it all is almost overwhelming to him. And knowing that this is the land of the dead, he almost seems to absently be searching for merchants similar to the way Mato was, though he seems to be looking for Hartusians if he can find them. Though the whole time, like kind of like a kid in a grocery store, he's got one hand on Okex's wrist at all times, just to make sure that there is something tangible next to him that he can know for sure is there.
And I think
Sarath
Darshep said
would-
that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Just Sarath would follow pretty far behind, like a good 30 yards behind or so, until they disappear into the gates, and then turn to Yuma and say, ask your friend, What is this place? What does she know of it? Is this place safe?
You look at Yuma's eyes. Actually, look very similar to Okex's in this moment. Kind of, these large, almost multifaceted eyes, just kind of taking everything in. He produces the little stone bird that belongs to Mato, and he kind of looks at it and looks at this place, and then he begins speaking to this bird again. She's never heard of this place before, but she says it sounds like we're on the right path, whatever that means.
So this is where we must go.
I think so. Sarath, as you're speaking to Yuma, kind of looking beyond him at some of the things that are going on, you see a creature kind of lumber past. It's a Badoshi, but it's not just any Badoshi. It's a Badoshi that once belonged to you, long ago, that you lost in a very, very close call with a Caldivan.
She just kind of mumbles, Askar? And glares at looks at the thing, trying to make out if that's truly what she's seeing. She just kind of shakes her head. Come on, stay close.
You see,
And she'll follow.
As Askar crosses this small space, you see where the Badoshi appears to be going, as it moves right up to a hooded figure. And as the hooded figure turns and begins to kind of playfully rile this Badoshi, the hood drops back and you realize that this is Azidakut.
At that, despite herself, Sarath will just break out into a run and run straight towards them.
Yuma kind of looks after you for a moment, kind of looks back at the rest of the group, uncertain of what to do.
And she'll just real quick yell, but she's like, I said stay close!
You could see Yuma was starting to enter a shop nearby, and then kind of throws his fists down and kind of turns and goes after you. As you approach, Sarath, you can see Azidakut kind of playing with the Badoshi and looks up and sees you. And you can see excitement and happiness on his face. And then there's this moment of dread. Sarath, what happened?
Which part?
Are you?
She just.
You're dead.
I don't think I am. We did not come here the normal way. There was a dreadsteel lamp. I don't fully understand what happened, but we were able to just walk in. There's someone you should probably meet. And he kind of, she kind of pulls Yuma up. She says, this might be hard to explain, but Yuma, this is your father. Azidakut, this is your child.
Azidakut kind of reaches behind himself, looking for a place to sit, and then lowers himself down onto the edge of this planter. My son? How long have I been dead?
Oh, 3 days? As
3
I said,
days.
things have not happened in the regular way. Your son seems to be something special.
He looks completely flabbergasted. And Yuma, in the meantime, is kind of, standing somewhat off of your shoulder, kind of behind you, kind of peers around you and says, it's good to meet you, I guess. And he kind of extends his hand like in a handshake, and the Zedkut just kind of like reaches out and grabs the poor boy and just like pulls him in and just like squeezes tightly. And you can see Yuma's kind of in that uncomfortable like hug where he's kind of got his arms kind of just barely around him, kind of patting him on his back. I cannot believe this is my son. 3 days? You look almost 20. The boy just kind of seems to not really know what to say.
Honestly, cousin, that's not even the half of it. But I don't understand why we are here. Would you accompany me while I seek out my friends?
Of course, yes. 3 days, he says again, and like shakes the kid. With this kind of strange pride, like it's an odd thing to be proud of, but you can tell that that's definitely the emotion he's feeling. The rest of you are making your way further in. Darshepsa, at one point, as you're kind of like leading this kind of push deeper into the city of Baraqar, you also see someone familiar to you. You see your nephew.
That kind of that shocks Darshepsa for a second. And Mato, you're the closest, so you probably feel like he stops and he stiffens, and then you can see his body relax somewhat as like this is all happening in seconds, and as he sees this boy. And then he hurries towards the young lad.
You kind of, move forward quickly towards this boy, this dwarven child, and at the last moment, he kind of looks back and sees you kind of coming, laughs, and takes off running. Faster and more agile than you've seen your nephew in a long time.
Yeah, I think Darshepsa, he doesn't run after, like I'm assuming the boy is running away, like just off.
It seems almost like a
somewhere.
game. Yeah.
Darshepsa doesn't at this point follow yet. He's just enjoying seeing his nephew run, because for years the only vision he's had of this boy is bedridden, pale and wan, and he is almost ready to overcome with joy at seeing what the boy is like, but knowing that to be here he must have succumbed to his illness, and so the joy is kind of tempered by this bittersweet feeling that his sister is now alone.
You continue to press onward. Okex, Still, occasionally, you catch these glimpses in passing of Kor, seeming to trade, almost as if they've just arrived to the city. And every once in a while, Kor kind of looks over at you, just kind of meeting your gaze, and then going back to their business.
Okex doesn't go to Kor immediately. They would be hesitant to. And I think eventually, even without actively doing so, Okex would find themselves in front of Kor's stall. Kor, my friend.
Ah, so you did make it. Hello, Okex. How are you?
Surprised to see you.
Well, I am told everyone ends up here eventually. I am surprised to see you.
I didn't come here the usual way. It's a long story, one probably better suited to song, but I haven't gotten to that part yet.
I understand. You always had the best songs. But it is a shame that you did not arrive here the same way that I did. Okex. And he reaches up with a pair of his arms and grabs kind of your shoulders. I was flying through the skies, Okex. As if I was a winged creature. It was tremendous.
If you're here, that means you're dead, right?
Yes. I believe that is the case, but Okex, look! Look around you!
Kor, what happened? I found... And they would bring out this Paduva knife. I found your Paduva. I took it from the one who carried it.
I remember a man, a human, who was red and burnt. He was very angry. So very angry, and the fire, the heat that he could summon was as hot as a scorch.
And it was he who killed you.
I think so, yes.
And your death has been avenged.
Thank you, my friend. My clutchmate. This means everything to me. But I have no use for that here. And he kind of puts his other set of hands kind of on the wrists that are kind of holding the Paduva forward and gently kind of pushes it back towards you. You should keep this.
I am not worthy of this. I have no tribe. The things I did, I stole water, Kor. I can never live that down.
Perhaps not. At least perhaps not yet. You never thought yourself capable of stealing water in the first place, but you
No.
did. You would likewise be capable of something you cannot yet imagine yourself doing, Okex. You avenged me. Of all the thousands of miles of empty desert and sand, you found the one person who had wronged me, and you set it right. That is no small thing.
It was not just me. There are others I'm traveling with. They are like you. They simply accept me as I am. Ask no questions. Pay no mind to my past. Cora, you were family to me when I had none. I think I can be that for these people too.
If these people have accepted you, if they love you and you love them, and you have fought and bled together, Nokex, you are already family. You are already a tribe, a clutch with these people.
A clutch of our own, like you used to say.
Now you understand. You had to come all the way to Baraqar to understand.
I don't think I'll be here long, Core, but someday I'll find my way here too.
I am certain that you will, Okex. And when that happens, it will be a wholesome, happy, pleasant day. But before that happens, live well.
I will try. And Okex will kind of lean over the counter and press their forehead to Core's and say, "Until then, old friend."
Until then.
And somewhat hesitantly, Okex will turn. And I imagine that as they move through the crowd to make their way back to their friends, their clutch, they look over their shoulder one last time, and Core's not there anymore.
You continue kind of making your way closer towards the center of the city, which takes some time. And though the city is incredibly crowded with people, there's never a point where you find yourself having to push through a crowd or kind of go around people. There always seems to be a path of least resistance that's just there when you look for it. Many other people make the exact same offer, Darshepsa. They all seem very interested in your mace. And some of the offers you're getting are bordering on obscene, especially because they're doing it in copper pieces. But it's in the like tens, 20s, 20,000 range. They're offering to bring, a wagon full of these coins to pay for this mace. As you continue to press in, eventually, Mato, you spot your brother, Tahoma, from across a small market court courtyard, market square. You can see he's leaning up against a like a half wall with his arms across his chest, and he seems to be kind of playing with the shadow of his own hand, and it's moving in a kind of a bizarre way. And as you enter the courtyard, he kind of stops what he's doing, and his eyes turn and look directly at you.
Mato stops dead as they're walking. Like, he might have even been just like looking around and stuff, but as soon as they make eye contact, he just stops frozen and stares back at Homa.
Darshepsa, you being with Mato, I imagine that you would likely notice that Mato has come up short, stopped very suddenly, and it's not hard at all to follow his line of sight and see that there is another elf that looks a lot like Mato, only slightly taller, maybe a little thinner, that is glaring right back at Mato. Neither one of them are moving or saying a word.
Mato, I will be with you.
No. He can't be here. He haunts me everywhere I go. He can't be here. Like, Mato's just like, he's not even looking at you. He's just keeping staring at straight ahead. He can't be here. And why? He just, he's saying things that just don't even make sense, like half sentence, like half words even sometimes, that he's just like, looks like he's just, mumbling.
Mato, I will be there with you. You must confront this. If it's haunted you, you must take action.
No. He just, when you say that, he just snaps. No, we must leave. I've seen him. He is here. And he's going to like try and like hold you and like pull you onward.
I think Darshepsa is not moving. He's holding you back and trying to guide you towards where your brother is. There's something unfinished here.
No, Darshepsa, you don't understand. You don't know what happened. I can't go. He'll kill me.
You killed me. This elf is now kind of starting to walk, across the way. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Mato just like rigid stops.
You killed me. Then you come here, the city of the dead. Maybe to haunt me, perhaps. But then you turn away from me?
It is you. You are haunting me.
Why is that, Mato?
Mato has looked down and is not meeting, and is just keep shaking his head. This can't be real. This isn't happening. You are dead.
Yes, I am. Just like all of these other people. around me, but I wonder how many of them might say that they were murdered by their own brother.
You need to leave me alone.
Leave you alone? I left you alone once before. Guess who paid the price for that?
Things were different then. You wouldn't He just stops. You have tormented me. I'm sure you are pleased with that.
There appears to be some balance to the world, and that amuses me to an extent, but I would hardly say that the scales are balanced, Mato. After all, I am dead. You are not.
To be honest, this doesn't seem as bad. He looks around.
This is how you will make this okay in your mind? The justification is that death is not that bad? Maybe you don't get to absolve yourself of what you did, Mato.
If only you had not been so righteous to tell the chief. If you had not been so righteous, nothing would have happened.
I see.
You just needed to and like Mato's like just like getting like, you can see that this is just like short-circuiting him. He's balling his fists. He's like looking away anywhere else. No, you made me. You threatened to tell the chieftain. Because you were so self-righteous, you thought you wanted to get me in trouble. I always knew you were jealous of me.
Jealousy, then it was. You see, I have wondered this whole time why. How it could have come to my brother killing me. Jealousy. That makes a lot of sense. Petty. Beneath you, I would think, but it at least makes sense with who you have been your whole life, Mato. Just jealous and scared of not being enough.
If it was not me who killed you, you would have killed me. I would have been banished. I would have been alone. I would not have had the tribe to come back to. I would have died out there.
Again, you bend things so that it is my fault somehow, as if I were the one who had done something that needed to be kept secret.
You made me act. You made me act. Mato just keeps saying. And he's trying to like back away in the crowd. If you will not leave me, then we have nothing more to say. You will not leave me alone. You will keep haunting me. I know this. And that is what I have to pay. But no. And he stops and he says, my apology means nothing, but I'm sorry it came to this.
There it is. After all this time. There it is. Mato, you and I are brothers. As much as we hate each other, I do love you. Maybe it isn't the real me who haunts you.
I think at this, Mato, like tears are just streaming down his face, not of just of like frustration and anger and guilt, and it all comes out, and Mato just lets out this cry of pain when he says this. Even still in death, you are always the better brother. He just shakes his head.
As you say this, there is no response. And as you turn, you see no sign of Tahoma.
I think Darshep's at this, seeing Mato's state, just kind of puts his arm around his shoulders and, well, I guess not quite shoulders, you're taller, but tries. Come, child. Which is actually quite odd because Darshepsa is obviously younger than you are, but and he tries to guide you back to where the others are.
As you're walking, Mato is trying to wipe away tears. His face is still just like this beet red. Please, Darshepsa, do not tell the others.
It is not my story to tell.
He just nods and I think would not say anything for the rest of our trip.
As separated as all of you were, eventually you find yourselves wandering into the same kind of square, the same courtyard that's kind of off the beaten path. There's not as many people. Everyone, if you would please, roll perception checks for me.
Oh, right. This was a D&D game.
Surprise! There's the mechanics.
Oh my god. It's going to be a 19.
Ooh, holy hell. Okay. Everybody, with the exception of Mato, which might make a good deal of sense, notices that as you are moving in towards this courtyard with one another and kind of seeing each other approach from these various different directions that empty into this courtyard, you notice that someone seems to be following you. You kind of see them moving out of the corner of your eye, and then when you look that direction, there's no one there. These kind of moving shadows here and there, ducking between buildings. But you notice that as you enter this clearing, that it's dominated at its center by a very large, ornate fountain that is carved from stone. This beautiful, ornate, intricately carved design that has tears to it, but no water flows in this fountain. It's completely dry. And atop the fountain, you see that there is the shape of a crescent carved out of stone, and that covering this fountain are carved stone birds that look very, very familiar. This is where we're going to take our break. So I saw that we just got raided. Welcome, raiders. Thank you so very much for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and drop their domain die in there. But we are going to go on break. Like I said, let's do 10 minutes. Kiss your spouse, refill your drink, go to the bathroom, smoke them if you got them, etc., etc. And we will be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our break and the second half of session 5 of Convergence, titled The Fountain of Baraqar. This has been excellent so far. Definitely some hot and spicy. TM, I'm sure that belongs to somebody. I'm gonna point over there. Anyways. This has been fantastic so far, and I cannot wait to hop back in. Thank you so much, everybody who is watching with us, whether you're watching live this evening on MiniTerrainDomain, or whether you might be catching us at some point in the future, either here on Twitch or over on my YouTube channel, The Erasmus Expeditions. Glad to have you. But I think, unless there is anything business-related, we can go ahead and get back into this. You are in this grand, vast city, the city of the dead, Baraqar, that was summoned as a mirage from this dreadsteel lamp. Now you were here, in the city, and it seemed so very real, so very physical and tangible. Many of you have run into people you may or may not have expected to see here. The exchanges have been emotional, to say the least. And now, you found yourselves gathering together in this small courtyard that seems to somewhat be off the main thoroughfare. The traffic here is much lighter, but perhaps it's the lack of a crowd that actually draws some of your attention to the fact that you're being tracked and followed by someone, by several someones. And as you enter this courtyard, you notice that it is dominated by a very large fountain that seems to be dry. There's no water flowing in this multi-tiered fountain. But the two things that stood out to you are that at its peak, there is a stone-carved crescent shape. And throughout the remainder of this fountain, it is covered with very familiar-looking stone birds. What would you like to do?
Fabinon, who has been rather silent this whole time, is probably the first one to like look and see these birds and go, those are like, Mato, where is your stone?
Mato like nods his head over to Yuma.
It's here, right here. He kind of holds it up.
Bring it close. And Fabinon will kind of bring Yuma close and then try to like examine the stone he has with the stones against the fountain.
It looks to be made of the same rock, and the bird is carved in the exact same style, size, and shape as the rest of the birds on this fountain.
He turns back to Mato and says, "Where did you get this?"
I bought it at some market. We were just passing through and it caught my eye.
Must be from this land, the city of the dead.
Mato's gonna look. Are there any birds missing from this fountain? Does it look incomplete in any way?
You know, it's funny you should ask that. Because as you look around and make your way kind of around the curvature of the fountain, you notice that there is, in fact, a place where one of these birds has almost kind of like completely removed from the fountain, where like a branch or something that sticks off that it would be perched upon, and it's broken and missing.
Yamato would immediately point and look to the others. Here, it is gone. It was taken.
And now returned.
Yuma, kind of like with the bird in hand, kind of shaking, turns and extends it towards Mato, as if like trying to get rid of, something incriminating, or like a hot potato type situation.
Mato doesn't hesitate to take it. He takes it and he immediately feels that like familiar, comforting feeling of this bird that he's thought is a good luck charm.
Perhaps Yuma, and that is the first time Thabanon is referring to Yuma by his name. Perhaps you should be the one to place it there. After all, you have found great power with it already.
He kind of like looks at the missing place where the place where this missing bird seems like it would go, and then kind of to the bird, to Mato, to the rest of the group. Should I?
Before he does, in that ensuing silence, Okex would rapidly tap Thabanon on the shoulder and say, "We are being followed."
Thabanon nods and looks back, and he'll kind of motion to Okex. I believe I see them as well. And he, like a gunslinger, just like places his hand right on his whip, coiled on his belt, ready to whip it out. And he just stands
I like
in a
how you
defense.
preemptively rolled your eyes at yourself before you even said it.
Yeah, if I didn't, everyone else would have. And Thabanon just readies himself in a defensive stance, and he'll kind of make a few clicks to Okex, like, be on guard. And then he'll look back to Yuma and says, "Go on. You are the chosen child. Surely this is a part of your destiny."
Yuma kind of glares back at you, Thabanon, completely understanding your snide comment, the underlaying current to what you've just said. And he turns almost defiantly now to reach out towards Mato. And as he does so, Mato, you see his eyes go from the bird to up to your face, and then kind of off over your shoulder, and they start to grow wide. What is your AC?
Oh no. 15.
Okay. Suddenly, there's a blue light that appears, and a figure steps out of a dimension door and plunges a Paduva scimitar into Mato's back. Mato, you're going to take some damage. All right.
I am guessing I do not see this attack.
No, because you got a 12 on your perception earlier.
Mm.
You missed the opportunity to escape that. Okay, so, and then okay. So first up, you take 14 points of slashing damage as this weapon is driven into your back, unbeknownst to you. I now need you to please make a Constitution saving throw.
Don't forget the minion dice.
13.
Don't
Do
forget the minion dice.
Want to
Based
use a
on the look
reroll?
on Jeremy's face.
No, I'm gonna
Let
let
it
it
ride.
let
Okay.
it ride. Yep.
All right.
This is the moment.
They're gonna live and let die.
Okay. Okay, a further 21 points of poison damage. The rest of you hear this strange kind of, like the sound of whooshing air almost, and turn around at the last moment to see this kind of blue light, vaguely door-shaped portal as a figure steps out and drives this Paduva scimitar into the back of Mato. Without a doubt, Thabanon, you recognize the poison that must be coating this blade. Somehow you've seen this before. It is called Caldivan's Kiss. It is made from the juices of an organ found inside of Caldivan that is used to dissolve stone.
Oh. Okay. Cool.
All of you, please roll initiative.
Okay.
Alright, let's see what we got. Looks like there was something going on in chat. Everything okay?
Oh
Hopefully
yeah,
everything's
I
okay.
was just I put in there, Jeremy, that I don't know if I would have time to do this before that all happened, but Okex was going to try and move back into a nice hidey place where he can see what's going on.
Certainly. Especially with what you rolled on your perception. So yeah, you were kind of, clued into the fact that there was something amiss, and there's plenty of buildings that kind of ring the outskirts of this courtyard. So there's plenty of stuff that you could find a shadow behind.
Great, awesome.
Here's my here we are. Okay. Sorry, everybody. Let me get this stuff written down here. Okay, so we've got a 21 for Thabanon. Okay, so Thabanon, you are the first to react. So go ahead and take your turn, please.
Okay, so does Sabanon see what the hell just stabbed Mato?
Yes, absolutely. It is a figure that is dressed in clothing that is what would probably best be described as camouflage. It's very kind of orange and brown, yellow colors. Head and face are kind of wrapped and covered with extra cloth. This figure moves very, very quickly, and you can see these strange patches of dark chitin, chitin, kind of growing at like their elbows, shoulders, things like that. It appears like this humanoid figure has some Caldivan scales kind of growing off of their body.
Ooh. That's some rough eczema you got there, bud. Let me take care of that. Thabanon, just out of instinct, is oh god, what is he gonna do? He's gonna cast, as a bonus action, he's gonna cast Hex on this thing. I'm gonna place a curse on this creature, and until the spell ends, I could deal an extra d6 necrotic damage to the target whenever I hit it with an attack.
Excellent.
And I also choose one ability when I cast the spell, and the target has disadvantage on the ability checks made with the chosen ability. I'm going to make it dexterity for this dude.
Okay. Yeah, remind me of that as it comes up.
Will do. And then he's going to make a quick to Okex, letting him know, party time. And then he's going to whip out his whip and upward swing, trying to just hit the hand that stabbed Mato. I'm going to use a domain die to reroll that attack.
Okay.
There we go. That's a 17 to hit.
Okay. 17 will hit.
Alrighty. And then I'm going to attack again with Thirsting Blade. And that is an 18, so that's a bit higher. Okay, so he's going to take, from the 2 whip strikes, a total of 16 points of slashing damage. And this does count as magical.
Okay. So your whip cracks out twice in rapid succession, both striking this person on a part of their body that is still flesh, that doesn't have these kind of chitinous scales on it. And in both of these whip cracks draw blood. So you have whipped it good. You're welcome.
Nice. And then he's going to stay at about 10 feet away from this dude. And
okay.
I imagine there's this strangeness of like seeing like blood fall on the ground in the city of the dead, of all places. And I don't know if I imagine for Thabanon, just seeing blood just dripping on the ground from his whip, just kind of, it's like the disturbing of a calm pond. There's just something wrong about it all, and he just sort of backs up and kind of and pulls out his shield and gets into a defensive stance, ready to go. And I end my turn.
And you see, just within mere seconds after having been splattered across the ground, that the blood seems to evaporate into nothingness, leaving the clean stone ground behind.
That's badass.
Okay. Mato, it's your turn.
Mato is stunned, being hit from the back and just feeling this overwhelming sense of pain explode throughout his body, and then that lingering poison that he can feel is just eating away at his body. And reflexively, he is going to try and turn. And he's going to, well, actually, he's not going to turn, because I like to imagine in my head, like the knife is still like kind of up in there. So he just wants to like take his short sword and strike at this person, just kind of turn a little bit and strike at him.
Okay. Give me that roll.
It's 24 to hit.
Absolutely, yes.
That he is within 5 feet of an ally, so he gets that sneak attack. That is going to be 16 points of piercing damage. And then with his bonus action, he comes again to the other side and he's going to do an offhand attack, which is an 11 to hit.
That will not. No.
Yeah, he is. I'm thinking that like it hit him more on one side than the other, and as soon as he tries to move his arm back, he can feel just the pain just explode down his arm from this poison, and he can even see like just the red angriness of the poison just on his arm as he doesn't hit.
Your first attack, however, as you kind of slashed downward across this individual, it did like sever the tip of this Paduva scimitar that this creature was wielding. It then drops that to the ground. Okex.
Do I begin already hidden from view?
I would say so.
Okay, cool. So there's this this shrill kind of whistle that rises in the square, and it only becomes evident at the last second what it is as this bladed boomerang comes spinning out of the darkness at this assailant, and I'm going to try and sneak attack with boomerang. Let's see how this goes. Okay. It's at 12 on the die, plus 5, 17 to hit.
Yep, that'll hit.
Okay, sweet. Okay, I get some sneak attack damage. All right, so that's 1 plus 2 is 3, 5, 9, 15, 21 damage with the old boomerang. And then
This
I
thing.
wanna...
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead, because
I was just going to say, this thing kind of comes flying in from seemingly out of nowhere and strikes this individual right in the back between some of these Caldivan plates that form this kind of haphazard armor on this individual. And again, blood kind of across the fountain and across the ground, and almost immediately begins to sizzle and evaporate away.
From that same darkness, Okex emerges, leaping toward this attacker, 2 Paduva knives wielding in either hand, and with a free offhand as they are flying through the air, Okex catches the boomerang and then descends on this attacker, and I'm going to use a bonus action to attack with my offhand with a Paduva knife. That I do not get sneak attack. Ooh, 9 on the die plus 8 is 17. Does that hit? Yes, it does, because it did last time. Okay, yep. Great, awesome. So that'll be 1d4, and I don't get to add that tasty modifier, so just 4 extra damage there.
All right. This individual is getting hit from side to side, front to back, above, and is taking these blows in stride as best they can. But you can see that he is much the worse for wear. Darshepsa, your turn.
Darshepsa's eyes turn to Mato to see how he is doing in this. Not well. So we are going to go up to how is the other guy, the person that attacked Mato? How are they looking at this point? I know they've got many people around them.
Very hurt, very injured.
Okay. Yeah. So
you're welcome to heal them if you'd like.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I'm thinking instead I will go up to Mato and cast Cure Wounds.
I mean, we all make choices, you know?
Yeah, I may regret this later, but that's what we're gonna do. As a second level spell. So you can have 8 plus 3, 11 hit points. Yeah, and then Darshepsa was going to stand like he's protecting Mato almost, but how is as the battle moves around, but kind of puts his body between Mato and the person that is that attacked him, and he's so Darshepsa's got his mace out at this point, but he's in a defensive stance versus being in an attacking stance.
Okay. That is Darshepsa Sarath. It is your turn.
Sarath looks at Azidakut and very quickly just says, "Can you die twice?"
I don't know.
Then run.
It's
And she just points, and she immediately, like, she's been kind of preparing for this, seeing that they were being followed, and she has her bow out and immediately knocks an arrow, draws it back, points at, like, as she's aiming it directly at this creature on Mato, and she whispers Dahaya and casts Hunter's Mark on him as this small, like, wisp of wind seems to run along the ground and kind of puff up at his feet, and she'll fire her first arrow, and that is going to be a 16 to hit.
that glances off of some of those Caldivan scales.
She kind of oh, by the way, I guess question, those Caldivan scales, are those she's something that this thing is wearing, or are those something that it looks like it's growing?
It seems as if perhaps that it might be grafted to this person's body. You can see places where the skin seems almost to kind of like grow up and around parts of this.
But it's clearly some sort of humanoid creature.
Yes, you can see flesh in some places. Absolutely.
All right. Then okay, then she'll just go ahead and knock another arrow. Okay, well, it kind of landed. That landed on a little bit angled. It was a 20, but it was a little angled, so I'm gonna re-roll it because it kind of landed on the wall. But that's an 18 on the die, so that's gonna do it. That's a 26, right?
Take a point of inspiration for your extreme honesty. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
What was the total?
The total was 26 to hit.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep.
And then it's going to be a D8. Okay, 5. Plus 3 is 8. And then I get another D6 for Hunter's Mark. So 10 points of damage with that second arrow.
Okay. He is still. Oh, what was the damage from the first arrow? Oh no. Did it hit?
First one missed. First one barely
Never
missed.
mind. Sorry, not to rub salt in your wound. So
17's the number we're shooting for, guys.
Yes, indeed. You fire these two arrows in rapid succession, one of which glances kind of off of this chitin that he's got kind of growing out of his body, but the second one finds its mark and pierces this person's body. Okay. So out from the tops of surrounding buildings and between other buildings leading into this place, you see half a dozen other individuals dressed in similar attire, though they do not seem quite as robust as this individual who led this assault. They will, however, move one at least to each of you, and then we'll figure out where the sixth is at the end. They're going to close with you, likewise brandishing scimitars. These, however, appear to be made out of bronze. Okay, first up, Darshepsa does a 14 hit you.
It does not.
It's not. Okay. The first one swings and misses at Darshepsa. The second, this will be Okex. Does a 16 hit you? Yes. Okay.
Just hits me. AC is 16.
All right. So this individual finds where you were hiding, kind of now apparent because of throwing your boomerang from your hiding spot. You're going to take 7 points of slashing damage as the scimitar finds a home. Okay, let's see. The next is at Sarath. I don't think a 10 is going to hit anybody. Okay. Mato. Does a 17 hit you, Mato? Yes, okay. Once again, another individual closes, slashing at you with its with their scimitar for a total of 10 points slashing. Fabinon number 5 comes up and slashes at you. I don't think a 7 is going to hit you.
You'd be surprised, actually, no.
All right. Let's see. There are 5 of you. So who is the 6th going to... 1, 2... Okay. Okex, apparently. They were not appreciative of your stealth craft. This individual, however, is leveling a light crossbow in your direction and lets it fire. Ooh. Okay. So that's going to hit 23, I imagine. Okay. $14 points of piercing damage as this bolt finds purchase. Okay. These individuals have spread out throughout this courtyard, intermingling with your party, and have shown that they're here to join this fray. You hear from outside of this courtyard, where your group is gathered, you can hear the sounds of distant screaming. People terrified, fearful, which is strange in this place. You hear people shouting as they run past the alleyways. There appears to be a giant Caldevan! A giant black Caldevan is attacking the city! Fabinon, you happen to know a black Caldevan.
Oh, no. Yeah.
The individual who began this assault turns in your direction, Fabinon.
It is too late. He has come for you, Fabinon. You are not a true believer. You hold someone else in your heart. Therefore, you will never fully understand our master.
He then reaches towards Darshepsa with a hand, a quick snapping forward of his hand as he grabs at Darshepsa. Does a 23 hit you?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. He grabs Darshepsa by the throat, and as he does so, he casts a spell. You see shadow climbing up his arm blotting out the light in the surrounding area. So, and as the shadow reaches his fingertips, you can feel the life force, the life energy of your body leaching into his hand. Okay, you take 20 points of necrotic damage. And you... Oh. You can watch your blood pump through the veins of his arm as he seems to revitalize and some of his wounds stitch closed. She casts Vampiric Touch.
Oh, yeah. So, last time you said because of my mace, I am vulnerable to necrotic. So is that 20 already?
No, it's not.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, shit.
Ow.
That's spicy.
Yeah, so Darshep's kind of withers right before your eyes.
Yeah, and he doesn't look fresh. He still seems like he's wounded, but he's nowhere near as wounded as he was before he grabbed a hold of Darshepsa.
So this was the guy that first attacked us, like the very first one?
Yes,
Yeah.
the one that seemed to step through the dimension door.
Yeah, okay.
Darshepsa, or whoever else might be happening to pay attention to this, you notice that as he's grabbing a hold of your throat, Darshepsa, that he reaches into the side of his body, and you hear this, and he pulls a new Paduva scimitar out of his body, and you can see it is dripping with poison. Okay. So, Fabinon, it is your turn.
Haha. I imagine Thabanon is just standing there, mouth agape, as he hears in the distance the roars of his master for the longest time, and hearing this monstrous creature tell him that he is not worthy, that he is not a true believer, activates a fury in him. And in the instant where one would have seen his whip glow a poison green color, the poison green seems to burn away with a fiery sun-like orange red as he just goes, You call me unworthy after everything I've given, after everything I've done. I who have survived the wastes, I who live with no tribe, I who conquered the sands and sun, all on my own. How? Because I live for love. What do you live for, you monster? You live for nothing! And then he screams and casts Hexblade's Curse on this motherfucker. And then he's going to charge at him with his whip, spinning in the air. He's going to take the attack of opportunity from the guy on him. He does not care. He wants to get right up in this dude's face and get him out of Darshepsa's range.
The guy swipes at you, but misses entirely as you depart and close with this individual.
Okay. Bring it on, you son of a gun. Okay. That's a 19 to hit. First attack.
That'll hit.
Oh my god. That is a natural 19, which is a crit on a Hexblade's Curse.
Fantastic. And you said this is not poison damage, right?
This is not poison damage.
Excellent.
No.
Okay. Good.
All right. This dude, oh boy, is going to take 9 damage on the first hit. And then you did max, and your crits are max, and then plus another roll.
So yeah, your maximum dice output plus all of your modifiers, and then you roll your dice a second time and add your modifiers a second time.
Okay. Holy moly.
Math break.
Yeah. That is going to be 26 points of damage to this dude. And
wow.
I'll add another d6 of necrotic. And that is an extra 3 damage. Oh, hang on. Sorry. The hex actually gives a +3 to everything. So instead, oh my God. So instead, that's 31 points of damage. Pardon me.
Is that just from the second strike? So that's 31
That's just from the second strike.
And the first one was 19?
Yeah, the first one was 9.
9. Okay. So 40 points all up. Holy balls.
You guys
took his entire vampiric health suck back. You just undid it. Like, no, negate.
I have unsucked the sucker. Yeah. And
yeah, I don't know what to say to that.
Yeah,
the internet's a weird place, people.
Mm-hmm. You heard it here first, folks. And I'm gonna stay up in this guy's business. Thabanon is, you've all seen Thabanon mauled before, but not quite like this.
This strike, I imagine, like, hits him across the face and chest, and it like pulls away that cloth that he had kind of hiding the lower half of his face. It falls away, opening up the skin that he has beneath, but you realize he did not have the lower jaw and mouth of a person. He has the mouth of a Caldivan, with rows upon rows of these jagged, sharp teeth disappearing back into what services as this guy's throat. He recoils from this whip strike, and he still stands back up and looks you dead in the eye, Thabanon.
You may prevail here, half-hearted, but in the end, you will never serve Dole the way that I have.
Let us see who is truly worthy.
Mato, your turn.
Yeah. Mato's gonna take another strike at this guy that he's in front of. Yeah.
One more time.
He's gonna take just another strike at this.
Oh yeah,
this
absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, whoops. It is a dirty 20 to hit.
Will hit.
4. That is going to be for 23 points of piercing.
You can describe what it looks like as Mato kills the avatar of Dole.
I imagine that he's like his attention is on Thabanon like talking to him and you know, making this grand gesture. And you see that in a very similar way that Mato was stabbed, he comes from behind and stabs him with the short sword and just goes close to him and just, how does it feel? And just twists the knife up into his chest. You can, Thabanon, you see the tip of the blade come out the other end. That's how far up he twists it, and he wrenches it out. Is there anyone who is, because you said that there were these guys with spears, are any of them 30 feet?
They also have scimitars, and yes, one of them was on you. One of them was on you as well, so yes.
Perfect. You see that as at the same time as he's wrenching this up, you see a ghostly figure begin to form right behind Mato. And Darshepsa, you would see that this is actually, now that you know, is Mato's brother, like in this ghostly, shadowy form, who is going to turn and stab the person with the scimitar in a very similar fashion to how Mato did. And that is going, they are going to take 6 points of necrotic damage.
So, these individuals are not avatars of Dole. They are disciples of Dole, and they are minions. So you can describe what it looks like as you finish the second individual off.
Yeah, it's exactly the same, and almost at the same time, like it's very instantaneous as Mato delivers the final blow. Quickly, this shadow, his brother, begins and just in the very similar way just drives his knife up into the back or into the front of this minion, and you see this symmetry as they both make just the similar face of shock and horror and pain and finally death, as the two of them withdraw their blades at the same time. And at that moment, Mato's brother, the shadow, just disappears back into him.
This individual falls to the ground, and you watch as both of these individuals begin to dissolve and disappear, much the same way as their blood did whenever it was drawn, until there's nothing left. All right. Osmato Okex, you're up.
So I didn't mishear when you said that there was a Caldivan coming here, right? Like it's on its way.
Definitely what the people in town are saying. Yes.
It's on the freeway. There's a little bit of traffic, but it'll be here soon. So there's this moment where Okex is standing there in the midst of the battle, and there are arrows flying, and Thabanon and Mato are fighting nearby, sort of out of focus, as Okex's single remaining antenna just twitches atop their head, and they slowly turn, and I imagine that there's like a curtain of dust that is just like slowly, gradually approaching, and there's this rumble, this vibration that Okex feels under their feet. And he looks down at these Paduva knives, one of which they earned by helping their tribe take down a Caldivan. And I would like to, if I can, try and scale a building so that when the Caldivan comes, I can jump on top of it. If that's
okay.
possible.
Yeah. So Make me an athletics check.
Okay. Oh no.
You've got thingy thingies.
Domain dice.
I'm tempted to just let it. No, I'm climbing a building. Okay, I'll use a domain die. I rolled a 1. I rolled a nat 1, so I will use a domain die. Jesus. Okay. That's not much better. 8 on the die. My athletics is not bad. 8. So 16 total on the athletics.
Okay.
check.
Yeah, so you kind of find a building next to you that has some like lower balcony action. You're able to like climb up, the supports for this balcony, and start to make your way up onto the roof of this building. And you're probably going to have to kind of leap from some of these buildings from one to the other to get to a building that's really tall in order to make enough height. But you've at least started that journey.
Okay. And I think that as I'm sort of running over to the building and I begin scaling it, I would whistle to Fabinon and sign to him sort of like over the din of battle. And I imagine Fabinon has like blood splattered on his face as he's like bringing this whip around, and Okex would sign to him, bring the worm here, and continue like climbing up the building.
All right. That was Okex. Darshepsa, it's your turn.
Okay, so big, nasty, mean guy, dead. There's little guys around.
Yep.
Again, Darshep says that attention is turning to Matto, seeing that Matto just got wailed on again. His hands are glowing that the bright light from the tattoo on his palm as he is going to reach out again and heal you. Third level spell this time because I rolled 2 8s and a 4, so that's 20. Take 23 points of healing. Yeah. Can I bonus action dodge? No, dodging is an action, right? So then I'm good.
Right. Unless you have cunning action as a rogue.
So I will at this point just go back into my defensive stance. I'm just kind of trying to protect and take more of the hits than Matto.
Okay. That was Darshepsa Sarath. Your turn.
So there's one guy that's still on me.
Yes, everybody still has someone on them except for Matto.
Okay, so Sarath is going to just take a few like wide steps backwards. He'll have a disadvantage on his opportunity attack, but I want to get out of his reach. I have escaped the horde, was one of my new things.
Okay, yeah, he'll miss you.
Yeah, and draw another arrow and just like from 5 feet away right into this guy's face. Also, she'll just very quickly whisper the Haya just to, as a bonus action, move the hunter's mark to this guy, and loose the arrow on him. It's a 19 on the die, so this is 27 to hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you said that these guys are
they're minions. Yep. So they only have a single hit point.
Okay. Yeah, so the arrow just sinks right into this guy's forehead. And I'd like to look up towards where this rumble is coming from, and if I can, try to judge about like 5 to 10 feet off of the edge of where this thing should be rolling through.
Of the Caldivan?
Yeah, based on the trajectory it's coming.
Okay, so as of right now, all you can basically see is this kind of dark form kind of rising up into the sky. It looks like it's still outside the walls of the city.
Oh, okay. Okay. Does it how do I have any idea how long, like how fast these? I generally would, I'm assuming I would know how fast they travel. So like based on how far it seems, how long would it seem to be?
They're known to be able to travel at great distances very quickly, even underground.
Okay, then yeah, I'll. Oh boy. I'll start to follow Okex's lead and head towards the building that they're going towards. Actually, I guess if there's still one more of these things on someone, right?
Yeah,
Alright, then
there's still 4 of them that remain, I believe.
okay, then she'll turn and kind of like as another one is moving towards one of her companions, loose another arrow with their second attack. And that was a 16 on the die, so that's going to be a 24 because I can do math.
There's another one.
Yeah, so this one just takes the arrow, just takes it right in the middle, and it just kind of crumples as it's running at one of the group. But she'll start running towards the building that Okex is on and like dragging Yuma along.
Yeah, you turn and reach for Yuma, but you realize that the young man has slipped away from you, and you see him at the fountain with the bird in hand and is placing it into the empty space.
Okay, I'll change trajectory and run towards him. But I'll just post up, and if he needs like help to reach it, I'll help
him. He reaches out and places this bird, and you hear this kind of strange noise. It's almost like stone grinding against stone, but almost as if you heard it in reverse. And you watch as this bird kind of like clicks almost into place, and the stone smooths over where it was broken. And immediately, the fountain begins to pour water, and the basin starts to fill as this fountain seems to now be completed. Very quickly, the disciples around you that are remaining all lower their hands to their sides and kind of look around as if they're confused or lost. We are no longer in combat.
Is anything, if things have changed for those disciples, has anything changed for Thabanon?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to see.
Jeremy!
Is there still rumbling outside the city seems to be coming towards, like, as the Caldavans still seem to be coming?
It seems to still be present, but it no longer seems aggressive. It sounds like the attacks have stopped. And very quickly, there seems to be kind of peace being restored to Baraqar. But the Caldavan is, from what you hear reported by the people, the Caldavan is still outside the city, just kind of pacing almost in a circuit outside the walls, as if waiting.
Thabanon's going to walk up to one of the disciples and sort of snap his fingers. You were going to kill us a second ago. What's changed?
I don't know where I am. I don't know who you are.
Oh, no.
What is happening around here? What did you do to me?
It was... Oh, no. And he just sort of backs away from this guy. All of you, he looks at the rest of the group. I'm sorry.
Sorry. What has happened?
Your minds have been claimed. Now you are free. And Thabanon looks down at his whip. Am I free? He looks over at Yuma and the water fountain and walks up to it. And he's staring down at this whip. And he says, all my life, I fought for the love of others, to prove myself. I have never fought for me. And he holds up the whip. I fight for no one but myself. And he drops the whip into the water.
You drop the whip into the basin that is filling with water. And the moment that it touches the water here, it begins to spread out like dripping oil into water or wax into water. And it completely comes apart in these beautiful patterns of color that spread through this water until it is no more.
Thabanon falls to his knees as if he had just lost a brother. And he just stares at his reflection in the water. And weeps.
Sarath will actually approach him in that moment and kneel down beside him after hearing what he said. And she slips the bracelet off of her wrist and into his pocket. And he says, she says just very quietly, sometimes we must leave what seems like a safe harbor because it is truly a trap.
I've carried so much hate in my heart for so long. And now that I've let it go, I can't feel anything anymore.
It may seem like that now. Give it time, give it love.
Thabanon looks to the rest of the group, to Okex, and He slowly signs. I broke our promise. I am sorry.
Okex slides down this pillar that they were climbing. And they come toward you, Thabanon. And as they do, they draw out this Paduva knife and they walk with a purpose toward you, this knife held out, the blade toward you. And as they get close, Okex pushes this blade into your chest, just the flat side. And Okex signs, where you walk, I walk.
Thabanon looks down at the Paduva blade and then looks back up at Okex. And he'll reach down into his boot for something that no one has ever seen, not even Okex. As he pulls out a Baduka of his own, though carved slightly different. It seems to be made from that of a stinger of a giant scorpion, though curved to a point where it forms a sickle-like blade, like a karambit. It was his father's blade, the one his mother gave to him. And he holds the two daggers, crosses them in front of his chest, and looks to Okex and goes,
While this unfolds, meanwhile, those of you who are paying attention or who are drawn by the sound, perhaps, you look over to see that Yuma has his hands cupped beneath one of the pour spouts of this fountain and has filled his hands with this water and is drinking deeply from this fountain's water. This is incredible. It's cool and fresh.
I think Mato would be the first, just seeing this amount of water. I don't think Mato has ever seen this amount of water in his life. And he's just going to go up to it and very gingerly place a finger into the fountain.
It is indeed cool to the touch, but it seems like normal water.
I think he would then take a hand and just cup a very small amount and put it to his lips, pause briefly before taking a sip.
In that brief pause, Sarath would just kind of quietly muse, should we be drinking water in the city of the dead?
I think Mato just shrugs.
start
Water's
forgetting your
water.
name. It's not good.
Yamato would just, if I die, this is where I'll end up, and It's not too much of a punishment. So he's going to drink.
At least you know there'll be water here.
Motto dies. No, I'm just kidding. No.
His ghost just comes in.
His other self comes in. Bud, I got bad news for you.
Yo, tag out.
He's like, hey, in case it wasn't clear, don't drink that, okay?
How it feels to chew
Comes-
5 gum.
Comes running in. No, wait, stop. Oh. No, Mato, you drink of this water. It is fresh and cool. Has a slight sweet taste to it, and you feel great. Nothing seems to happen. It seems as if it might be real water. It's just maybe something a little more.
Oh yeah. Okay. As soon as he sees that it's fine, he is taking all of his water. I imagine that they have probably a few pouches on their belts, if that's all right, just to make sure that they
Yeah,
can
I
always
imagine.
have water. So he's taking all of anything he can to fill up this fountain with the water.
Yeah, Sarath is opening up her bag of holding and pulling out all her many little water skins that have all been drained, and she's just filling up each one and making sure that they're cinched and then putting them back in the bag, just methodically. She's this is the first time she's been able to fill all of them at once, but she's always holds on to as many as she can.
Thabanon's gone full doggo mode and has just got down on his knees and just dunked his head in the water and is just drinking it up.
Darshepsa actually goes to Sarath's side, seeing her fill up all of the skins, and he just quietly, without speech, just kind of falls into the routine that they used to have when they were traveled, where she'd fill one and he'd take it from her, cap it, put it away, grab the next one. They've just kind of got this little I guess ritual going that they used to do when they were scavenging for the water themselves. And he's just kind of fallen naturally into that role, silently beside her doing that.
Sarath will also kind of, after filling her water, kind of start looking around to see if Azidakut and Naskar have are completely gone, or if they stayed on the outskirts.
They were gone, but they seem to kind of, now that everything seems to have quieted down, they're kind of peering around, looking to see if everybody's still all right, what the situation is. And you can see several other people kind of looking in this direction now as well. And people start to shout, "The fountain! The fountain is flowing!" And people begin to, migrate in this direction. Throngs of people start pouring in to this courtyard to see this fountain flowing once again.
What is the significance of this fountain? He yells out to anyone.
This fountain has not flown with water for thousands of years. How did you fix it?
I imagine it's a quick point at Yuma,
We had this little bird. It's hard to explain.
It's the kid. The kid did it.
Fantastic. Okay. So, I have one or two additional things that I would like to get to. So, if there's anything that you would like to do, business that you'd like to tie up, or something you'd like to look for before we leave the city, please go ahead.
The last thing that Sarath would just want to ask Azidakut if he knows what the dreadsteel means, because everyone seems so interested in it here. That's the main thing, and then probably just say goodbye to him. Make sure he has a chance to say goodbye to Yuma.
He, when questioned about it, he says, I was not sure in life what exactly it was about dreadsteel that was so troublesome, I guess is the best word to put it, but coming here, it's like I understand it in a whole new way. The dreadsteel, it is made with the bodies of us, of the denizens of this world. The dwarves, they work the corpses of burnt people into the metal.
She kind of shakes her head at this, like, why this? But why is it so coveted here?
Is a link between the land of the living and the land of the dead. The dead who are here can use dreadsteel as a way to go back.
She kind of shoots a glance over at Darshepsa and his mace. This is foul and dark.
People here are desperate sometimes to see the ones that they miss. Maybe dark in the world of the living, but here it is an opportunity for some. A chance to fix things.
I suppose I cannot fault them. I have to say it was good to get to see you again, cousin. I am sorry for your fate. We could only rescue one of you, and Darshepsa chose your bride. But she lives.
I would have done the same. Made the same choice. I do not regret this. Take good care of Yuma for me.
I will. I think he is something very special.
That he is. And he kind of looks at Yuma again with that kind of swelling pride. Okay.
I'll see you again someday, cousin.
Someday.
I promise.
Perhaps not too soon.
We'll see. Off to the gray. She just gives him a hug and turns.
Yeah. He returns the embrace. Is there anything else anybody wants to do before you leave the city of Baraqar behind?
Unless it's on the way out, Fab would like to talk to the Dole if he can find it.
That's where we're headed next.
Beautiful.
Matto is going to find maybe someone who has come to the water, who looks, I guess, trustworthy to him, whatever that means, and he just kind of taps them. You don't know me. I don't know you. My condolence. Anyway, this, I need you to get this to someone for me. And please feel free to correct this, but this is just an idea that I had of, he is going to give this like small copper or like some sort of maybe even I think it would be made of bone. It's like this little token that signals a right of trading water, because I feel like so many people would have like a water trade. This is to prevent people from like kind of forming a monopoly of like trading water and stuff like that. So they have these little tokens that have these kind of things notched into them, and as you get more well known as a trader, you get more privileges, you get more notches into this small little circlet, if that makes sense. And he is going to give this to this person, and this is actually his brother's that he has been using to expand his water trade. And he gives it to this person, and he says, there's a man here, his name is Tahoma, and I need you to give this to him and just say, I am truly sorry.
So I think like these chips are also like carried by Hartusians, the people who like are able to gather and carry the water, and there's only so many people that can do that. But it also comes with all of these rights to sell maybe more than normal amounts of water or what have you, and it signifies, like you said, all of this prestige and status. So when you hand this over, this kind of elderly woman takes it and looks, and she says, are you sure you want to leave this here? This is invaluable. Where do you come from?
He nods. I know, but I did not earn it.
Very well. Then I will seek out this Tahoma, and I will give it to him on your behalf, and deliver your message, of course.
He just smiles. Thank you.
Okay. Eventually, you leave the city of Baraqar behind you, and as you exit the city walls, when you look back, you can see the city itself beginning to fade behind that heat shimmer before it disappears altogether. All of you are under the effects of a hero's feast. Yuma seems to be probably entering his 30s now about. He seems like he's grown a beard. His voice has lowered significantly. He seems to have mellowed and calmed quite a bit. And he seems kind of introspective about what has happened in the City of the Dead. But it's hard to fixate much on that, because as you step from the walls of the city, there is an enormous cloud of dust and sand as a gigantic black Caldivan swims in a giant circuit outside of the city.
I imagine Thabanon kind of looks back to his companions and sort of just holds up a hand of wait here, and he'll slowly step out.
Okex is coming with him.
Thabanon stops Okex. this is one path you cannot follow.
Okex doesn't sign anything. He just nods, understanding, and just clasps Thabanon on the shoulder and turns to return to the group.
Thabanon looks to everyone and just nods and has a weak smile on his face as he turns back towards the dole and walks out.
The rest of you look out, watching Okex walking the short distance back towards you. Thabanon, having given you this last weak smile, turns and walks towards where this circuiting Caldovan has stopped its rotation and has turned directly towards Thabanon. And you watch as the cascading sand like rolls off of this thing's back as if a dune itself was forming straight towards Thabanon. Just as it's about to reach Thabanon, there's this massive upward thrust of sand into the air as this black Caldavan's open mouth shoots upwards into the sky and blots out one of the suns before it turns its open maw downward and begins almost a dive straight for Thabanon. Just as it reaches you, Thabanon, the dole stops.
You have betrayed me.
I have found my true purpose.
No one turns away from my power.
Your power was my poison. It let me seep in my own hatred, making me forget why I fought to live. It made me forget my friends. And he looks back towards Okex. It made me forget how to love. Go in peace. What you desire with the child you will not find.
This creature makes another downward lunge with its maw, as if threatening to swallow you again. It stops and recoils backwards.
You have drunk the waters.
Yes. I have walked through the streets of the city of the dead. I have seen families reunited, friends reacquainted, bonds reforged. And I have seen the true meaning of life. It is to live with peace and love.
You are no longer only a part of the living world. You now straddle two places, both alive and dead. It is I who now must serve you, my master. master.
Thabanon is floored. And then he looks back towards his companions. And while he's looking away from the doll, is just going, "Oh my God." And then he looks back to the doll and he says, I imagine he like reaches out to the doll and touches its hide. And for the first time, inside Thabanon, he feels his heartbeat match that of the great beast. And he hears and realizes how slow his heartbeat actually is. Now that he has consumed water from the city of the dead. How much in a twilight realm of existence he is. And the power that he once found awe in this beast, he now instead finds it in himself, reverberating through it, the doll. And he smiles and says, "Thank you. Wait here." And then he'll walk back to his friends. The doll will no longer harm us. We have come to an understanding. And I believe it would be far easier to get to the mists with a ride, no?
Cut immediately to this black Caldivan sailing across the top of the desert with the six of you on top, holding on for dear life as we rocket towards the looming gray. That is where we are going to end tonight's session. So, thank you all so very, very much. This was amazing. You guys are so fantastic. I love pitching these things at you guys and seeing what you're going to do with it. You folks are just outstanding. So I'm going to pass things back over to these outstanding folks so that they can say goodnight, give closing comments, plug anything that they'd like to plug. Once again, remind you where you can find them on the interwebs, and then we're going to call it an evening. So we're going to go reverse order, and Karen, you're up first.
Hello, everyone. Wow, what a session. That was amazing. That was so good. I'm a bit sad that this is the last full session with these characters because there's so much more want to learn. But it's been a wild ride. I can't wait to come back in a couple of weeks and do the final full session of the other group and wow, this game is just amazing. Thank you so much for inviting us all to play and together. It's been amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely my pleasure. Thank you so much, Karen. Yeah, I mean, if if I didn't invite fantastic players, this game would not be so wonderful. So thank you. All right, next up we have Matt.
Yeah, I'm Matt. What a treat this campaign has been. Like, seriously, I It's one of the most like wildly inventive campaigns I've ever had the pleasure to play in. And then just like learning about these characters and how like each character had like a moment that Jeremy has allowed us to have by working in bits and pieces of our backstory. There are things that Jeremy has included in the campaign that I don't even remember talking to him about. Like just an offhanded comment that he just like latches onto and is like, hey, this is cool. I'm going to put it in here. And it's just like really cool. So I've been having a blast. I like can't believe how attached I am to this fucking bug. And I can't believe that like this was the last full session. I'm like, when it came time for OKEX to speak, I'm like shaking. I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. Yeah, just incredible. Thank you, Jeremy. This has been so fun. Thanks, everybody.
That is wonderful to hear, Matt. Thank you, truly. That I'm touched down in the warm cockles of my heart. Like the fact that everybody is enjoying this campaign so much that they don't want it to end makes me feel very, very guilty, but also makes me feel very, very good. So that's very appreciated. Next, speaking of very appreciated, Austin.
Is your goal to just wreck me with the segue so that I can't think of anything to say?
Every
because, like, it's
single
fair if
time.
So. I had a blast as always. You folks are all incredible. Jeremy, you were the king. By the way, Jackson, amazing with the rule of threes. Like, you are always on it, so rhythmic in your character dialogue that I'm always like, are we sure that like Jeremy didn't feed him something and this motherfucker scripted something beforehand? Because like there's a rhythm to this that is like upsetting when you are doing it just improv. So well done. It's always the best when someone can upset you with how good they are. So I love playing with all you folks. And it was said in the chat, but I want to make sure that it is here in the YouTube video so it's public record that Jeremy is going to run all of us a Caldera Magical Western game, because I want that to happen. So people must be aware of it. Anyway, thank you very much. I'm excited to play.
Dude, absolutely. It's been a hot minute since I've run Caldera. And yeah, like I said, I love Fantasy Western. It's such a great mashup. And I would love to run a Caldera game for this group. That sounds like a hella good time. So pencil me in, write it down, and force me to do it. Because, yeah, don't force me to have a good time. All right, next up we have M.
Hi everyone, I'm Em. Oh my goodness, this was so good. It was so good to just be back and play some D&D with amazing people, and especially to come back to this campaign. It's so awesome. There's just so much more I want to explore, but I guess, yeah, you're gonna leave us just wanting more, which is, I guess, a good thing. So yeah, thank you. You can find me on Dice on Ice, pretty much everywhere you would think to find me. So that is where I'll be. Thanks again.
Absolutely. I've been so happy with this group. Like, group chemistry is one of those things that like you either hit it or you don't. And yeah, I have been very, very, very pleased with how this group has come together. Every single one of you brought it with not just one set of characters, but with two sets of characters. And that's very, very special. And it's made this campaign fantastic. So thank you so much, all of you. Last but certainly not least, Jackson.
Oh boy. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Oh my God. You know, just when I thought I was like, nah, it's Hettust, baby. That's the side. Then all of a sudden you lay down this monster mamma jamma on us. That was incredible. I truly had no idea what was gonna happen. So to you, Austin, like I had no idea anything was gonna happen, but thank you very much for the compliment. Yeah, I straight up like messaged Jeremy like about like an hour before the game going, hey, should I like prep for like some stuff that could go down the way like PvP stuff? Because I thought it was going to go Revenge of the Sith, but it went straight to Return of the Jedi, man. Like this was incredible. I truly cannot express how much I love this campaign, how I love you guys as fellow players. And Jeremy, you're a wonderful, wonderful DM. And this game is so creative and so interesting. And the fact that we have all managed to bounce off of each other and create such nuanced characters and relationships with only like honestly 3 sessions per each group is honestly incredible. And I think we all should be proud of what we've accomplished here. And I cannot wait to see how this concludes. This is so much fun. I'm Jackson Johnson. Check out Maelstrom. It's fun. And thank you. This was incredible.
Oh, man. You're all phenomenal. Thank you so much. Not only to these 5 fantastic, phenomenal people for playing in this game and for just being great people in general, but to all of the people who have tuned in to watch this campaign so far. I'm very excited. I am very proud of what we have done. And there's a bug. Fuck. Anyways, it is. Sorry, Okex. Probably a cousin. So, where was I? Yes, wonderful people. I love you. Thank you so much for checking this out, spending some time with us, whether you're watching live this evening or whether you may be tuning in at some point in the future. Like I said, either here on MiniTerrainDomain or maybe even on the YouTube channel, the Erasmus Expeditions. Should have that uploaded by this weekend. So, yep, one more full session on Hettust with the other group of characters, and then there will be a finale that follows that will touch on both of these groups of characters. So I'm really going to be pushing the range and limits of my players, and I know for a fact that it's going to be one for the books. So I'm very excited. You guys are just the best, but you know that. So I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, and until next time, may your dice roll high and your snacks always be within reach.